This is application example 901-2 that discusses the use of fire barriers to create separate fire areas based on the 2015 International Building Code. Specifically, we will look at a facility that is a single-story building of 16,000 square feet. The building is a mixed occupancy with Group M and Group F1. The designer would like to provide a fire barrier to create two separate fire areas in lieu of installing a fire sprinkler system. We need to determine what the required fire resistance rating is for that fire barrier creating the two fire areas. To do that, we'll first look at the definition of fire area. This is the aggregate floor area enclosed and bounded by fire walls, fire barriers, exterior walls, or horizontal assemblies. It goes on to say that areas that are not provided with surrounding walls shall be included in the fire area when those areas are beneath a horizontal projection of roof or floor above. In our example, we have a Group F1 occupancy. We go to section 903.2.4 with regard to sprinklers to determine when sprinklers are required. It indicates that when the fire area exceeds 12,000 square feet, fire sprinkler system is required in the Group F1. We also have Group M, and in section 903.2.7, it indicates that a fire sprinkler system is required when the fire area exceeds 12,000 square feet. In both these cases, you'll see that 12,000 square feet is required for the fire area of Group F1 and Group M. If the fire area exceeds that size, then sprinklers are required. So we go back to our building and we want to determine the fire rating for that wall to create fire area number 1 and fire area number 2, each of which would be below the 12,000 square foot threshold. To determine the fire rating, we go to section 707.3.10 on fire areas, and it specifies that fire barriers or horizontal assemblies, or in some cases both, that separate fire areas of mixed occupancies shall have a fire resistance rating of not less than the highest value in table 707.3.10. When we look at 707.3.10, we see that it indicates the fire resistance rating for the fire barriers based on occupancy group. So we go down that table and we find our Group M occupancy, and it indicates that we need a fire resistance rating of 2 hours. We also have a Group F1. So we locate Group F1, and it indicates it requires a fire resistance rating of 3 hours to create separate fire areas. So in this case, we have to take the most restrictive, the highest fire rating, as was indicated in the section. So we need to have a 3-hour fire resistance rated wall. Going back to our Group M occupancy, this then becomes a 3-hour fire barrier. And when it is a 3-hour fire barrier, it creates two separate fire areas. Each fire area, in this case the Group M, less than 12,000 square feet below the sprinkler threshold. For Group F1 at 6,000 square feet below the sprinkler threshold of 12,000 square feet, sprinklers are not required in either fire area. In this case, the fire rated construction has been substituted for the fire sprinkler system.